Hey YouTube, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Welcome back in. Thanks for checking out another episode. Today, we are on board with SCUMP as he leads the Chicago Huntsmen in this matchup against OpTic Gaming Los Angeles. So just real quick before we get into the actual analysis, if we're talking about map count overall, in this scrim, Chicago ended up winning 3 of the hard points, and then OGLA ended up winning 2 of the hard points. But again, we've been seeing this a lot lately. We've seen it with Minnesota, we've seen it with Florida. All of these matchups are super close. It really does come down to like one rotation here or there, who ends up winning it, and from there, that's who ends up winning the match. So we'll see if we can point it out in this one. It's normally like a team that has control of P4 would be able to flip out and get control of P5. Just look for those back-to-back hills on this map, right? So right above my head in the minimap, what I mean by this is, and I'll try to color code it as best I can, but right now, OGLA has control of the left side of the map, right? So let's just say that they're going to get initial control of P2. Now, there's still time where Chicago could get in and they could flip it out, but we're just saying just for happenstance here. So if OGLA has P2, then normally what happens on this map is Chicago would end up having P3, right? Because if you have left control, then they're probably going to get P2. If you have left control, then you're probably not going to be able to get initial time on the right side of the map. Alternatively, if Chicago has P3 control, then when it goes back to P4, OGLA is going to have P4 control, right? So normally, the way that a team ends up winning this map, let's say OGLA had P4 control. When they go ahead and they rotate over to P5, then if they can stack back-to-back hills here, that's how you end up winning, right? So if you're OGLA, you get P2, you don't get P3, you get P4, and then somehow you're able to wrap around the top-hand side of the map and also get P5, okay? So that's really what we're looking for here. If everything holds true, so OGLA gets P2, and right now you can see that it's already not going how we anticipated, right? Chicago was able to push through. They were able to get this left-hand side of the map. They were able to max out the left-hand side inside of P2, and now they've basically got a 60-point lead going into P3, but just like we were saying earlier, if you're OGLA, it's not the end of the world, right? Because if you get the majority of the time here inside of P3, you're going to get those 60 points. As it goes back over to P4, it's basically going to be a tie ball game unless you get flipped out. Now, one thing I do want to point out, again, minimap right above my head, we see this from Chicago all the time. So they had P2 control. So as they left P2 and it rotated over to P3, we see teams push the top side of the map. We see them go mid. We see them push the bottom side of the map. But what Chicago does really well, probably better than almost any other team that I've really watched, is that some teams will send somebody up top side of the map trying to get position on top. Other teams will send somebody bottom mid trying to push the front of P3 and just put pressure on as much as they could. What I see a lot out of Chicago is they send everybody towards the bottom side of the map. So they really try to flood out P5. And biggest reason why is because if you get inside of P5, then all you have to do is, as OGLA's coming off of this spawn right here, all you have to do is get like 1 or 2 kills right here. And if you get those kills, you're able to push out the back of P3. And now all of a sudden you have time inside of P3. So that's what we were looking at there. That hill ended up going the majority of OGLA's way, and now as they rotated to P4, you can see that OGLA they got the first 30 seconds here inside of P4, and slowly but surely they're making their way back into this game. So with 22 seconds left, they have this, and they're really doing a nice job of not allowing Chicago across the bridge. They're not even allowing them across mid-map, right? Arcides goes down right there trying to get across the bridge. Hollow gets a nice kill on SCUMP. So this is a perfect hold. It's going to go ahead and it's going to give OGLA the lead back. But just like we talked about in the very beginning of this one, as it rotates to P5, we'll see if they're able to push out top side of the map and able to flip this out. But see if they can trade that out from Rammaza. But yeah, it's just really hard to do. Let's see where Chicago... So Chicago spawned the bottom side of the map. Let me go ahead. Let me pause this real quick. Let's bring up the mini map. So the reason why that would happen is because as OGLA's inside of P4, this is actually the same way that Minnesota Rocker got beat by Atlanta FaZe at the last event. But if you're OGLA, they push up the top side of the map really hard. And as soon as they get control of this part of the map right here, that's going to block that back right spawn So Chicago can't spawn there anymore. So as we saw when SCUMP died right here towards front P3, that took him and that spawned him out towards ammo. So now if you're OGLA, as long as you're staying alive, all you have to do is just continue to push through P3. And once you get back P3, now you're going to have this spawn back here. You're going to be able to get inside of P5 and likely, more than likely, most of the time when you get that back P3 spawn, you're able to get into P5 and secure the rest of that time. So with that in mind, again, the best thing about scrims is that I do like to hear what Chicago's talking about. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's listen to what Chicago's talking about. We're about to go back to P1. So I would expect this to be a little bit different than the first set of rotations, just because as it goes to P1, Chicago is going to have that left side of the map control. So now they're the team that's set up initially. We'll see if they're able to hold as OGLA tries to push back and get those spawns inside of P2. Let's listen in here.
Pillar's absolute Kenny. Dead. One more barber.
Oh, it's someone. That's me. I'm going C3, dude. Or I'm going paint. I can get time out. Sit down.
I don't see the guy at fold.
Three rugs. I didn't know he would pitch me.
He ran back. He's in here top flat. Yeah, top flat dead.
I'm
looking you out here. You're out here.
One shot top right. Two top rugs. One's one shot.
Damn it, man. Hollow. Paint, hollow.
Yeah, I'm pinching flat.
One more pushing.
I'm looking at her.
Paint again. Paint dead.
Out of time, dead end. One's in. Our side time, Kenny weak. Our side time, look at paint. He's very weak.
I will also say real quick, this is a little bit of a different approach from OGLA that we don't really see very often. So if you're OGLA, you know that you're down by about 20 points or so, but biggest thing for them, they made the decision that after P5, they were going to push inside of P1 as hard as they could to try to get that time inside of P1 because they know they don't have those initial spawns inside of P2. So they were able to get the first 20 or 30 points inside of P1. Now, since then, things have changed a little bit, and it looks like they're going to be spawning towards ammo as it rotates to P2. But again, that's just a little bit of a different strategy, right? They pushed P2, they tried to get inside of P1 so that they could get that time, and then as it rotates to P2, they're going to be spawning out now, but now they just have to break, right? They have to try to flood the front of P2 as much as they could and try to get in here.
Funny. What the fuck? Play kills. Slow the game down.
I'm trying to get sandbags.
In front of me. I'm absolutely wallbanging him and naded him.
It could be sandbags now.
I got one.
I didn't see anything sandbags.
I've heard this quite a bit in my videos as of late, where so many people are complimenting Arcides for the type of in-game leader that he is. And right there, he was just talking about get kills, slow the game down, because they don't have to push out at that moment, right? At the time he said that, there was like 45 seconds left inside of P2. So at that point in time, they don't have to push. They don't have to be over-aggressive. Just hold each of these lanes, get kills as OGLA tries to rotate in, and then you can go ahead and start to win the game off of that. I really like what he's doing there.
Ammo draws a weak.
Bottom mid.
One's gonna be on the wall helping him.
Yeah, give me ammo.
I spawned rogue.
Nothing wall. I'm
Yo, he's front ammo. Bottom ammo now. Nice
one going in the back of me.
That was his bottom ammo.
I got
Right side hill slasher. One side hill slasher.
Kill me pillars. They spawn back pillars, guys. Spawn back pillars. Jump out of flat.
Ladder.
Guys.
Deep right. He's gonna kill me. Flat.
I need that pillars. One more back.
Rugs.
Got out rugs, I think. Sam right there. Austin. Yeah, Austin's crossing cat right now.
Big T.
Intercat on.
T just right.
Can't hit him. I'm hitting him.
I think he's giving it up.
He'll be dead.
Yeah, I think he gave it up.
Nice.
Give me ladder on you.
Bottom mid alley, TJ.
On mid.
TJ.
Give it bottom green. Rugs.
Backing up, guys.
I think he's gonna top play. Oh, he just pinched me.
On mid.
I thought that was you walking behind me. Give it right, Chris. Give it right.
Stun, one's low dirt.
TJ.
Okay, I hear you. I'm chasing him.
He's dirt door.
They can be top rugs, guys.
Oh, they're all out, bro.
I'm C3. One's
Behind
on
rugs. I'm behind rugs.
Got Tej.
He's dirt door. He was nice.
Another one.
Good door.
Area C3.
I'm only cat. Yeah, I'm only right.
One shot. Absolutely.
Oh my god, I just lost full cat. He's cat, guys. Kenny.
Plot on me.
Work towards hill, guys.
Plot on me. One shot pot slash absolute.
Hollow flat too. I got time.
Paint
What's
dead.
above us?
I need front door.
He can be
Flash
top
there.
Oh.
Flash dirt, press some flash dirt.
So obviously right here, Chicago can go ahead and they can win off of this hard point. It's really tough to do, and the biggest reason why this is so hard is because there are so many lanes right over the middle top of the map where OGLA can get in, right? They can go bottom, they can hit P4 from the bottom, they can also go across bridge at P1, or they can go dirt door. So there are 3 lanes that they can hit to get inside of P4, which makes it really hard for Chicago to hold that, but it looks like they're about to get the last 13 seconds or so. We'll see if they end up winning off of P4. There comes the contest, and they don't have spawns for P5. So there is a route here for OGLA to come back if they can max out time and hold spawns inside of P5. Let's see if they're successful at getting those, or at not letting Chicago get those last 3 seconds.
Stay up, I'm loading, guys. I'm just gonna hold loading.
One just went back alley. He's laying down close heady. Laying down close heady. TJ, that's not him laying down close.
Go draws it, draws it.
Flasher was in here.
Back alley, back alley, back alley.
Got one.
I'll send it back alley, get break.
Front, TJ. Nice.
And there comes a team wipe, and Chicago ends up getting that victory. So again, kind of like what we said at the beginning here, as long as you're able to just get a couple hills back to back, and even those 2 back-to-back hills can be doing really well inside of P1, then going ahead and chaining that into a good hold inside of P2. So it doesn't have to be like P2 to P3 or P3 to P4. It can be P1 to P2 also, and that's what Chicago did here. So nice map out of Scump. He went 30 and 25. Also, Formal went 29 and 22. It's important for your main ARs to do good on a map like Rammaza because it's so fast. There are so many like close quarter interactions that it's really good when your ARs can drop 29 kills as Formal did there. If we look down below, Kenny was 23 and 23. TJ went -4. Draza -1. Hollow went -7. But with that, guys, another victory for Chicago. So if you enjoy this sort of stuff, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe. Any comments on this one, leave them down below. We're now only about 2 weeks away from playoffs, so hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. We will catch you in tomorrow's upload.